Shout out to Julian Banks. Yes, sir. And I am Big Snoop Dogg.
Welcome back to another episode of After Hours. I'm your host, Julian Banks. We are here with a very special guest, real estate mogul, sales guru, motivational speaker with over $4.5 billion assets under management. It is Mr. 10X himself, Uncle G, Master G, Grant Cardone. Welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, Julian, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to learning something by sharing this time with you.
Yeah, of course.
It's funny, when people call me a motivational speaker, I don't even think of myself as that. I've never, ever considered myself that guy.
Yeah.
Like I never try to motivate anybody. To me, if I have to motivate somebody, it's the wrong audience.
Right. You just did 35,000, right, in Miami?
We did 28,000 people, yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, so, I want to get into the inner machinations of your real estate empire, but first, I kind of want to jump back to your formative years, age 15 to 25, young Grant.
Okay.
You said this was kind of a difficult yet
nasty times.
Right, yet transformative time for you. What were kind of like the daily routines and the mantras and the edicts that you had to kind of employ to shift your mindset and propel you onto this trajectory of creating this real estate empire?
Well, one, I had to get sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I had to get completely miserable with myself as a human being. I highly recommend this as a therapy, by the way. I went to all these therapists, and they'd be like, "Oh, you just need to love yourself the way you are," and I'm like, "Fuck, dude, bro, like this is stupid advice.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding? I'm not paying for this. Like, I do not love myself the way I am. No one should love themselves in my condition. I had been using drugs on a daily since I was 16 years old. I was broke. I'd lost 7 jobs. I was not trusted by my family or the community. I didn't trust myself. I looked like shit. I was 130 pounds, gray. There was nothing to love, man. I mean, the thing that got me out of it, Julian, was like just being disgusted with who I was and slightly holding on to the idea that I knew, at least I believed, that I was capable of doing more than I had been doing. I quit drugs every day for 10 years. And then one day I just said, I'm going to quit, and I quit.
It's amazing. You still had that
That was the rebuild.
Right.
I was a sales guy, and I came back from a treatment center, and the company that I had left said they would take me back. They were nice enough to take me back. They said, well, "Hey, you wreck one more car, bro, and you're out of here." Took that job. I hated the job. I hated it, but I didn't have any choices. Like, I had come to a place in life where there was no people talk about an A and a B plan. There was no B plan, bro. There was, and it wasn't an A plan either. There was the only plan, and it was a shit plan. It was a shit job. I had a college degree in accounting, and I was selling cars, but there was nobody going to hire me to do anything else. So I dug in and I learned that game. I said, okay, I hate this job, but I'm gonna get good at it. It's the only thing I could do. If it had been digging ditches or selling Cutco knives or doing solar or whatever, bro, it could have been selling shoes, whatever McDonald's, I was going to get good at it. And that's what I did. I put my head down. I quit using drugs. I quit all my old friends, quit my girlfriend, quit all my old habits, started getting up early, went straight to work every day, gritted my teeth.
And you just needed that vehicle to get out of it.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't buy any real estate for another 5 years.
Okay.
I bought a single family home when I was 28 or 29 and rented it out, but I was definitely not on my real estate mogul path yet.
So when you did start on that path, that first investment, that was the, 3,000 down, was that the kind of first foray into?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I put $3,000 down. I had $3,000, $3,700 or something. Somebody told me I could get a loan on a $75,000 house. I found it. I rented it. I was making $200 cash flow a month. And I said, shit, dude, I'm gonna get rich. Put $3,000 down. The house was 75,000. I'm like, this is a no brainer. Like, I'm gonna do this over and over and over again. I didn't know how to do it over and over again. I didn't know how to do it the first time. I didn't know what a deed was, a title. I didn't know how to get a loan. I didn't know anything, bro. I didn't know what a credit score was. I just kind of stumbled into this thing because I'd heard my whole life that real estate was a good investment. In fact, I had planned on living in the house. And when I bought it, somebody said that they would rent it. This is 1996 or something, probably 1990. And the chick rented the house from me, her and her sister. And I did the math on it. I'm like, I'm making $200 a month. In 12 months, I'll make $2,400. I only put $3,700 down. I said, I'm going to get 80% of my money back in the first year. And now I own an asset for the first time. Well, in the fashion of a person with a personality, a personality, what's the word I'm looking for right now? Not disorder, but a superpower. Yeah. My superpower is this addictive personality, this quality of, okay, you do something once, do it a second time and a third time and a fourth time. So I went and bought a second house 15 days after the first house. I bought it with no money down. Jeez. And it was worth $125,000. And I'm like, I got $200,000 worth of real estate. And I'm selling cars. I'm hustling cars for a living to make $3 or $4 grand a month. And now I got a couple hundred, $300-$400 coming in on real estate. And I'm like, dude, I'm going to become a damn real estate mogul. Well, the 3 months later, the whole plan crashes because Janet, the tenant, her and her sister moved out because they said I didn't solve their plumbing problems, their flea problems, their termite problems, and that they had a roof leak. And so they bailed on me. And now I'm like, shit, this is not as easy as I thought it was going to be. But that was my start in real estate.
Okay. And then getting into commercial, because that's, you're a staunch proponent of commercial real estate versus single family residences. Is that, I think you said it was like a 32 unit is like the ideal when you're kind of first starting out there.
Yeah, my next deal, what I did was when the chick moved out, rather than me blaming the real estate, I just started studying who I could become so I wasn't managing the real estate, meaning I wasn't worried about the tenant. And so I studied Sam Zell, the guy, Don Bren out of California. These guys had these mega portfolios, billions of dollars. Now, this is back in the 90s. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about $1 billion then, bro, is like 10 or 12 billion dollars today. These guys had Fred Trump, even Donald's dad. Okay, Big Dick Donald. Donald's dad had these communities. All these guys had developed communities of properties, not one single family home. And so when I was studying these guys, I'm like, oh, I know what I did wrong. I bought one house. I'm dependent upon one flow, which is no different than a car sales. I got to get a customer that wants to buy my car. I got to sell him. I get a commission. The buyer goes away. Now I got to do it again. It's an endless
like cyclical
job of always replacing. Exactly. It's a single flow, right? Mm-hmm. And so I spent 3 years studying what I did wrong and realized, oh, the game is to have multiple units. And the next deal I would buy was 48 units in Vista, California. I'd moved to La Jolla and found this 48 unit deal. It was 1996. The guy paid $5.1 million. I bought it for 1.9. I put 350,000 down. I've 10x my down payment now. Mm-hmm. And I made almost $5 million on that one deal in 3 years.
Jeez.
And then I was like, then I was off to the races. That was $5 billion ago.
Yeah. And you found that was your model and you kind of like replicated that.
And I just been grinding the model out, dude. 38 units, 48. I bought 48 units. 30 days later, bought 38 units, bought 92 units. I had 500 units in a period of like, I don't know, maybe 4 months. So I just went hog crazy, bro. Like, and the mistake I made was I stopped buying. I should have kept doing what I was doing. And then a guy named Pete said, bigger's not better.
Yeah.
And he planted that shit in my head, dude. And I stopped buying. I should have just kept going. I'd be worth 10 billion today rather than, the paltry 1.3.
Well, you're almost there. I mean, that's the goal too. It's like 100 billion in assets. I think you've said before, because you write down every morning on your notepad, right? It's, hey, I want to, you wrote down, hey, I want a house in Florence. I want the motorcycle, helicopter.
Yeah. You've been studying. I mean, that's awesome, dude. This is what I wrote down this morning. I wrote
Let's
this
go.
down.
100 billion in assets, 1 million.
1 million investors. I'm going to become a bank. Wife and kids are happy. My health is great. That's what I wrote down this morning.
Yeah, I mean, I love to see it with. I mean, obviously, you're successful with, real estate sales and everything. But I love to see your interviews with Sabrina and Elena, because it's like you light up when you do that, and it's almost it shows you what can be done as a successful father. Like getting everybody out there, integrating your family in, as opposed to, hey, I'm on my grind, just solo vision, but bringing them in. And everybody.
Well, that's a much bigger payoff, right? So it's harder. By the way, it's harder to do the family thing and the husband thing and the father thing, because it's a little harder to measure. Yeah. But it is definitely more rewarding when it all pops off right. It's the most rewarding thing there is. Yeah, you don't want to be lonely at the top. But we kind of all know you as this prolific media personality. But in 2008, 2009, when the economy crashed, I believe you had just sold like 2,200 units in Tucson. But it was still difficult economically just for everyone. But someone close to you mentioned that you should get on social media. Did the economic downturn kind of contribute to your initial foray into social media, or? Yeah. So what happened was, it was 2008. I had just sold this Tucson portfolio. It was 2,200 units. I moved all the money. My timing was like perfect. Moved all the money out of Tucson into an apartment complex. I downsized everything. So I had a 230 units in Oceanside. I wish I'd have never sold those, by the way. It's beautiful up there. Yeah. And a shopping center, which I'm glad I sold. That was garbage. And I 1031 all the money to protect myself on taxes. And then the economy fell apart. And when it fell apart, look, real estate is particularly in the beginning, it's not a great business. It's a great place to put money, but it's not a great place to produce money that you can live off of. Mm-hmm. I had two other companies, and they were both pretty much dependent upon the auto industry. I was consulting Nissan and Toyota and the manufacturers and some other retailers, and I'd created this sales process that was pretty revolutionary at the time, or evolutionary, and I was getting a lot of attention for it. And I was just at the point of cracking through and becoming kind of like famous for this thing, and the economy crashed. This is the story of my life, dude. Every time I get close, bam, somebody rugs me. Yeah. And so the economy crashed. I had two companies, and then I had this real estate. The two companies got slaughtered. All the income stopped. All I had was employees. I had no contracts, no money coming in. The entire world was literally it was like the water had been shut off. And I had this real estate that you couldn't sell anymore because real estate, the banks were in trouble, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. So I almost busted out right there. I probably had a couple $1 million in the bank, maybe. And I thought I was going to go through it all. I know a couple $1 million sounds like a lot of money, but I had $50 million worth of debt with the bank. I had two companies that were failing. I had a partner that was in trouble. I was newly married with a kid on the way. I had a house with a bunch of debt on it. And I'm like, shit, dude, this could be the end, the beginning of the end. And this guy in my office, sitting in my office, says, you should get on Facebook. And I'm like, Facebook? Fuck, but bro, I'm about to go BK. I might not have time for a bankruptcy. Right. And he walked out. I said, get out of my office. I don't have time for this. Literally threw him out of my office. And it was a home office. And when he walked down the steps, I thought to myself, Grant, you're so ignorant. You're so closed-minded. This is 2010. You don't even know what Facebook is. So I started a Facebook account. And that was 7 million followers ago. Ooh. And dude, we sold $1.2 billion over the internet in 14 years.
With the crowdfunding, is that?
No, we've sold educational products,
Oh,
workshops,
okay.
tickets, books, webinars. I've raised 1.3 billion to crowdfund for the Cardone Capital for our real estate portfolio. So the very thing that I said, get out of my office, I don't have time for this. I started a Facebook account, a YouTube account, Twitter, LinkedIn, and then I slowly started figuring out for 8 years, we didn't spend any money the first 8 years. From 2012 to 2020, we didn't spend one penny in advertising. It was all organic. Posts, live streams, Periscope. I did Periscope. It failed. What was the other one called? I was the number one person on it. It failed. Madonna was the number one. I passed her up. Meerkat.
Oh, I remember that. Yep. It was kind of a Periscope.
Yeah, exactly.
Iteration. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, dude, like the internet, digital downloads and live streaming and Facebook, and I don't watch these things, but they have been unbelievable for me.
Yeah. So if it wasn't for that friend, we really wouldn't have heard of you. I mean, is that
Gavin Potter, dude?
Gavin Potter. Shout out Gavin. He deserves a percentage.
I love you, Gavin. I owe you, bro.
Is that kind of still what sets you apart? Because you spend like $1 million in advertising per month. You're on dozens of podcasts. I mean, you're everywhere. Does staying relevant and increasing your brand value kind of build that economic moat around you? You're kind of going 10x on that.
I think that, I mean, anybody can do what I'm doing right now, right? So I'd rather do the podcast than do the interview. I'd rather meet your audience and collaborate with you and actually have a conversation. Mm-hmm. Some of these are not fun because, the guys want to do the gotcha stuff, right?
Yeah. For the clicks and everything. Yeah. But it's
the worst ones are the clickbaiters, though. The termites of the internet that just want to clickbait somebody's name. They won't even ask me on their show. They're just going to talk about me on their show.
Oh, right.
But hey, dude, it's part of the game, right? Now, I don't think that that's my moat. I don't think the moat is the audience. I think the moat is the offer. There's no one that I know of. Maybe I could be leaving somebody out. There's no one on the internet, including the Kardashians, that have as many offers as I have, as many ways for an audience to do something with me. Like you can never pay me anything. 80% of the audience that watches me never gives me one penny and never will, by the way. Mm-hmm. And then the other 20% could give me $1. They could buy a hat from me. They could buy a shirt. They could spend 20 grand with me for a seat. They could get 400 grand to partner with us in our Cardone Ventures, or they could give me $4 million to invest in Cardone Capital, or they could do all that. And we have companies that buy products from us, individuals, men, women, people. There's people that's never bought anything from me that's supported the Grant Cardone Foundation. So I think my moat is not the audience, but actually the offers.
And you're keeping it direct, with crowdfunding, especially. You don't have to get the sovereign wealth funds and the institutions or get debt. You're having people that have investing, they're getting a monthly payout with you.
Yeah.
And then also investing in your properties too.
Yeah. The biggest thing that I'll do in my lifetime is what I did at Cardone Capital, allowing everyday regular people to invest with us. We're doing closing a deal today. It's $157 million. I'm paying cash for the asset from an institution. The institution bought it back in 2019. I'm buying it back for them for less than they paid for it. I'm paying cash for it. They had debt on it. And I'm not going to have Bank of America, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, sovereign funds. Rich people don't get the benefit from this asset. Regular people. This has never been done at scale. Like if you want to talk about a super moat, you're not buying a ticket from me. You're not buying a product from me. You're basically partnering with me, and I'm going to send you checks every month.
Yeah.
And so this has never been done at scale before. Literally, like I'm using the internet and institutional assets. These are massive big projects. This is not a house. It's a $10 million house. This is a $157 million property with 380 tenants and super perfect location. That typically would be owned by a sovereign wealth fund or a MetLife or a New York Life or an Allstate or JP Morgan.
Sure. How does that work with the crowdfunding? Like somebody comes in, gives you $100K. Are there different tiers for the investors, or is it?
Everybody gets treated the same.
Okay.
$5,000 or $5 million, same paperwork. Accredited, non-accredited investors. There's one difference. When you're non-accredited, you get paid every quarter. Everybody else gets paid every single month. The non-accredited still gets paid. They're getting paid every month. I just don't make the distribution every month because some of those checks would be like $12.
Yeah.
But that individual is still investing in the same core asset. So your sister, let's say she's not accredited, she wants to put $10,000 in a deal, and my brother wants to put 10 million in. Same exact deal, same distribution, same payoff. They're both going to see a double or a triple on their money over the period of the cash flow and the sale, and they're both invested in the highest quality asset that money can buy.
I love it. I got to get in there. I'll have to invest.
Whenever you're ready, man. Right now we have 16,000 investors. My goal, we send out about $6 million every month. My goal is to get that to $10 million a month for the next target that we're distributing. But I want to have 1 million investors, and I want to send out $100 million a month to our investors every single month. People need cash flow, man. They need money every month, something dependable. The banks don't pay that today. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, none of the big guys ever pay anybody every month. If you invest in Facebook or AT&T stock, they don't pay you a dividend every month. They pay you every quarter, but you got to pay them every month. Mm-hmm. So I'm really turning this thing on its head and challenging the banking system and Wall Street to give the regular person a real shot at creating wealth by having great assets.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, we're also in a different spot than 2008. But are you worried about a recession now, or they've added job data to the criteria to kind of mask the GDP decline? We've got credit card debt, student loans, all of that stuff. Where do you see our financial situation right now, and how's that affecting?
Dude, I think it's a shit show, bro.
Yeah.
I think this whole thing's a shit show right now. I predict that we'll have a mass worldwide event. The Fed will go from threatening with higher interest rates and inflation, the boogeyman inflation now. They're going to go from, oh my God, inflation to, oh my God, interest rates will be zero again. The world is in terrible economic trouble. Mm-hmm. And you'll have Ray on the show, so he's going to support this.
Yeah.
The US dollar is, the only thing holding that up is it's better than pesos and Venezuelan money and rubies and whatever else is being traded. The American consumer's in trouble. We have the lowest savings rates right now, the highest credit card debt ever. We have 1/3 of all Americans are holding a second job. You got housing that's dead stopped, rents that are starting to flatten out or decrease. McDonald's and Starbucks is seeing less traffic at their stores. Every indicator, man, is bad. Now, the Fed wants to say that inflation is out of control and every day terrifying Americans about the cost of whatever. Dude, the Fed does not control inflation and never has. Mm-hmm. Okay? The reason Gucci shoes are $1,200 is because people keep buying $1,200 shoes. And it's supply and demand. As long as the American consumer continues to, if you're willing to pay $5 for a fucking hamburger, dude, they're going to take it to $5.50 until you stop buying the hamburger. When you stop buying the hamburger, they'll lower the price.
Right.
It's simply supply and demand. And the Fed should step out of the way Okay. They're actually creating more problems now than solutions. The American consumer can no longer buy a house. And the mortgage rate in this country today is about $2,900, double what the rent is. And that's before property taxes, maintenance, PMI. Really, the average mortgage rate in this country is probably closer to 4,500 than it is 2,900. Makes it impossible because the interest rates are 7.5%.
So Trump 2024, is that the?
You better hope. Everybody should hope for Trump 2024.
Yeah.
Because he will definitely get the Fed to stop the madness.
Yeah.
This is what happened, man. We did COVID. COVID shut the country down. Clearly, they wanted to shut the country down, regardless of how people feel. I don't know if I can use that word on this show because YouTube might shut your show down. But the pandemic shut this country down, full stop. When the American people got fed up with that, the Ukraine war, literally the day after the press on the pandemic stopped, we were in Ukraine. Russia was invading Ukraine. And clearly, I think most people would agree that Putin can't go into Ukraine without Joe Biden's approval.
Right.
That war was not popular with the people. And because it was not popular, the next thing we know, we go in June 2020, Jerome Powell was saying interest rates will not go up repeatedly, over and over. We will not go up on interest rates. Okay. And then the next thing you know, by the end of that year, he's made 500 basis points increase in the interest rate, highest in history, which is going to shut the country down. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what the goal of shutting the country down permanently is, or keeping people terrified, or constantly concerned about the invisible COVID or the invisible inflation. But clearly the agenda is to terrify people. Now they're coming with the bird flu and maybe UFOs.
It's always going to be something, yeah.
I'm just surprised they haven't shot Donald Trump yet.
I know. I mean, it's just crazy. Their perspectives are completely orthogonal. I mean, they're totally opposite perspective. Even on the crypto front, I mean, if you're into crypto, I mean, Trump is already there with Bitcoin and everything. I don't know if you believe in that as like a store of value at all.
100%.
Yeah.
Much better than saving money.
Sure.
Okay. So like saving money is the most ridiculous concept. And I know it's promoted by Dave Ramsey and it's promoted by the banks and the institutions, because the institutions benefit by the American consumer saving money. Wall Street benefits by you saving money, and so does the IRS, because they're going to tax you later. You know, the only beneficiaries of saving money is the federal government, the IRS, and Wall Street.
Yeah, and you've said this almost in your 10X book. The wealth you really live by that different set of rules. But just like you said, how is their mindset different than the middle class? Because we have all these mantras, almost these bromide statements of save as much as you can, diversify your portfolio, retirement accounts, buy single family instead of multifamily. How did that get indoctrinated into our minds? Like, why is that so prevalent?
It's like, if you want to control people, teach them how to play the game.
Yeah.
You know, we're educated. We spend 12 years getting an education, sitting in a little chair. I mean, our education system is completely outdated. There's no reason for anybody to sit in a chair for 12 years to only come out and not even know how to balance a checkbook, mm-hmm. or the difference between saving money and investing money. Or, hey, why don't we take into consideration that 99.9% of the people don't even understand the concept of inflation and the destruction of money, and the fact that the number on the dollar bill is not important. It's what it buys. Mm-hmm. Okay. Like, people are foolish. We've been tricked, man. Okay. That says 100, but we all know it's $10. They changed the value of this to $10.89, which is what it's really worth since I've been on this planet. I would not save this. I would get as much as I can and immediately convert it to something that would benefit by this destruction. And so what do the wealthy do different? They don't save money. They don't buy Gucci. They don't buy BMWs. They don't buy Rolexes. On the come up, dude, they invest all their money. Most of them drop out of school. They network with one another. They hack the system. They live off of cash flow. They don't, or other people's money. They take tremendous risks. They use debt. They don't buy homes. They buy homes when they get rich. But dude, well, I mean, once you're rich, I mean, you could go buy a yacht if you wanted to, but not on the come up. They're willing to move. They don't make the decisions based on their family first. They make their decisions based on their finances first. Mm-hmm. If you look at the Asian community and the Jewish community, dude, they're top of the food chain in the financial system in America. Why? They make decisions on their finances first. Mm-hmm. Okay. The Indian community will buy a motel or Dunkin' Donuts before they'll buy a house because they want the income. And you can see it in their net worth's better, their income's better. And so America needs to get deprogrammed. We're financially illiterate because we've been indoctrinated to be illiterate.
Mm-hmm. So kind of, stay broke, but push that money into assets, not buying Gucci.
Do it like Elon, man. Yeah. Elon never had any money.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. He doesn't own a home.
Yeah. He was sleeping in that, in his office a lot, but.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, do what the rich people do. Don't do, if you read the book, The Millionaire Next Door, do not do the millionaire next door. Right. The millionaire next door is a saver and a consumer, and he's old. Okay. And the new Generation Z is going to be like, I'm not buying a house. It's stupid. It's not an investment. Okay. It's a consumption item at best. The IRAs, the 401ks, the rich people do not do those. Mm-hmm. Warren Buffett does not have a fucking retirement account. Okay. He's got $900 million a year in dividends from Apple. Mm-hmm. He's never worked at a company in his life. He invests in companies. Right. He doesn't start companies. Okay. Americans want to start companies. The rich people don't start companies. Elon didn't start a company. He bought all the companies. So these are the hacks. If people would just study, if your audience would study the super rich, mm-hmm. Study Jeff, Zuckerberg, study what they're investing in, study what Warren bought, not what he tells you to invest in, study what he did.
Right. Because it's almost like as an investor, Warren Buffett, I think made like $500 million from Coca-Cola, but the top exec at Coca-Cola made $50 million.
Yeah.
So it's,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Tim Cook made $65 million last year, being the CEO of Apple, and Warren made $908 million.
Jeez.
908 million, almost $1 billion in dividends without ever walking into the Apple campus.
As the investor. Wow. Yeah. And so you famously stated that, you're broke if you have $1 million. You still feel that way, obviously.
Yeah, well, I'm always broke, so it doesn't bother me. Like, I live broke. I'm a real estate guy. All my money's in real estate. This morning I had $157 million in my account. Now I have zero.
Just pushing it out.
But now I got a piece of real estate.
Yeah.
And so, for, I don't know, 25 years, I've been going for at least 14 years. I go broke twice a year. Twice, 3-4 times a year, I go broke. And I highly recommend it, man. If you saw Undercover Billionaire, I went broke. They gave me $100. I'm like, I don't need the 100. I just need people.
Yeah, I love that first episode where you went into that town and you kind of approached that building. You were looking for people in that town, the network, and said, who do I need to meet to kind of get me out of this position that I'm in? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just people, man. Money's a people game. It's not a money game.
Yeah.
If you want money, you just got to connect with the right people. You don't even need to solve a problem, really. Like, I know everybody says, oh, you got to find out what people want and give it to them. Nah, maybe. Maybe what people want is to give me money. I don't know. Like, you don't always have to build a product.
Yeah.
Look at what Amazon does. Amazon gets a premium for 75% of the products they sell. They get a premium. They don't own the asset. I could find it somewhere cheaper, and I still give Amazon a $2 premium because I just want to buy it through Amazon for some reason, because I trust that they'll deliver it to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
the biggest pimp in the world is Amazon.
Bezos, I love it. I mean, I guess it's so tough for people to, once they get the money, it's the urge to preserve capital with the need to really continually reinvest and grow your wealth. Like as soon as I pulled together a few shekels, I was like, all right, I'm gonna hold this together. I did buy a property, but it was a single family. But now you've got me kind of rethinking everything. It's like, instead of buying a $2 million house in Venice, why don't I buy a $2 million, commercial real estate? I mean, it's,
Dude, exactly.
600.
Buy an apartment building in Venice
Yeah. Yeah,
and rent the house that you wanted to live at in Venice.
exactly.
Use the cash flow from the rentals to pay for where you live. And when you're tired of that location in Venice because something changes, you move. Maybe your situation gets better and you move closer to the ocean.
Yeah.
Dude, I've never had a house that was the end all. Like, I've never had a house. I bought some unbelievable homes. I bought Lionel Richie's house. I lived next to Leo DiCaprio. Dre was my neighbor. Dude, there's always a better house.
Mhm.
I bought a house in Malibu. Okay. It's an unbelievable house. It's a $40 million house. I'll sell it probably one day for 80 million bucks, maybe 100, but there's always a better house, And so when people I go to school, I get a degree, I get a job, buy a house, like, why that order? Oh, because it benefits Bank of America and Wells Fargo. Look who benefited on all my moves. Go to school. Oh, debt. Get a job. Okay, now I pay taxes. Buy a house. I benefit the banks. Get a retirement account. Now I got to get a retirement account. Of course, I have to get one of those. Benefit the banks again.
Yeah.
And I'm just telling people they need to interrupt this cycle because it hadn't worked for any generation. Since immigrants came to America, this has been a trap. Okay, the middle class is a group of slaves. This is your clickbait right here.
That's the title right
there.
there.
The American middle class is a group of slaves that pretend to be rich when they're on any given quarter, they're actually poor people.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I'll probably get out of LA just in terms of investments. But you recommend, what are some hot markets that you're seeing? It's Austin, Georgia.
Dude, we are in the greatest real estate correction in my lifetime. If you're going to stay in California, then invest there.
Yeah.
But if you think you're going to be leaving here in the next 3 to 5 years as they continue to raise taxes on you guys,
yeah.
And they are, by the way, they're broke, completely broke. They just went through $100 billion surplus, and nobody can explain where the money went. Unfixable. State of California's got a problem as big as the United States of America. If you're going to stay there, buy the real estate there, Julian. And be very, very focused on the markets and try to protect yourself in areas where the local government supports the property owner more than the tenant.
Right.
Which is more and more difficult to find there. But if you're going to leave there, bro, there's so many great places to buy real estate right now. Austin will be a boom town. San Marco, just south of Austin, is going to benefit. Houston, Dallas, Savannah, Atlanta, parts of Atlanta, not all of Atlanta. Nashville is going to be a freaking boom town. The Carolinas, like I could show you 15 places where if I was starting all over again, I'd move there, go hard on the place, put together 500, 600, 800, 1,000 units, and create real wealth generational wealth for you and your family.
Yeah, I've got a lot of family in Jupiter, Florida down there, so I love it there. And yeah, my family's in my sister's in Georgia, so I just see her, getting some properties down there. She works for Coca-Cola, and she's just getting these properties, even in like the smaller places on the outskirts of Atlanta. It's a beautiful, beautiful way to do that.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are now like working remotely. So I've got a few friends that even if they're executives, they're a month in London, a month in Ibiza. Does that affect your commercial real estate when people are kind of moving out of the cities, or is it people still need a spot to live as their home base? And then,
I mean, look, man, people still need, when the guy comes back from Ibiza, well, I mean, he's coming, if he lives in Atlanta, he still needs a place for his car and his keys. So, look, America's going to become a renter nation. There'll be more renters in this country than homeowners. About 40% of the housing stock in America right now is owned by investors. It could all be owned by investors at the end of the day. Some of the rich people in this country own 30 homes. There's nobody in them. There's tremendous amount of vacant homes in this country. Mm-hmm. They're never going to be traded again. Somebody's just going to keep them, pass them on to their estate. We're short 4 or 5 million homes in America today, probably another 30 or 40 million desirable locations. When your buddy leaves Ibiza, he's going to, I don't know, New York or LA or Austin, or there's only like 10 or 12 or 15 super exciting cities in America.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not going back to Sioux Falls. If he's traveling to Ibiza, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I recently read in the Economist, it was mentioned that the institutional investors like BlackRock are holding a much larger collective stake in the U.S. housing market. Is that affecting you? Are you going up against BlackRock at all when you're buying these commercial real estate, especially you at the top, $130 million spots? I'm sure that's enticing for them.
Oh, dude, every deal I'm on there, I'm competing with those guys.
Oh, really? Okay.
The good thing is right now they're all sidelined too.
Okay.
So they're all out of the game right now. So that's why I say this is the biggest Robin Hood real estate moment of my lifetime, because the institutions are all sidelined. This is the biggest of the biggest, man. I don't care what headline you see. Oh, Blackstone is buying apartments. No, they're not. Okay. They're headlines that they're buying.
Yeah.
But the truth is they're slowly dissolving problems on their books.
Okay.
Okay. There's $2.7 trillion worth of debt that is maturing in the next 30 months. All of it owned by institutions. The biggest of the big. And the problem is so big, it could drag down 300 banks and some pension funds. I've been predicting this would happen. I hope it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But you could literally have 300 bank failures in America. You could have a couple of major pension funds, big, giant government pension funds that fail, because they're all tied to either big office projects. You're seeing them go back right now to the banks.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing them trade for 10 cents on a dollar. Those are going back to banks, man. And the banks don't want these properties, but it's also happening in the apartment market. The stuff that I buy, what you call commercial, is really multifamily. Large apartment complexes. Some of these construction projects that you're seeing in downtown LA, they're going to fail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see a lot of this. Even another headline is the recent data that richest 1% are kind of on the verge of surpassing the total wealth of the middle class. So what are there broader implications for this wealth disparity, or how are policymakers going to respond to this kind of growing gap, I guess?
I think it gets worse, not better.
Yeah.
I think that the gap gets bigger until the middle class starts playing by a different set of rules. If the middle class continues to do what it's been told to do, save your money, plan for retirement, go to college, buy a house. If you guys keep, they call it MasterCard for a reason. They call it MasterCard. Okay. They said, you want a MasterCard? I said, no, I do not want a MasterCard, bro.
Yeah.
Okay. I understand what that means. Do you want a Visa card? It doesn't cost anything. We'll give you a t-shirt. No, I don't want a Visa card. Thank you. Visa is not freedom. Even though it means that, right? It means I can go anywhere. The truth is, I go anywhere off of cash flow. I don't go anywhere off of debt.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't have free cash flow, I don't spend money. And this is what rich people do. They don't use money. They don't even earn income. Mark Zuckerberg paid himself $1 last year. I think Warren paid himself $100,000 and has since 1980 or something. $100,000.
Right.
And what does Jeff pay himself? $80,000 or something. There's no income. They don't want income. What they do is they borrow against their company.
Mm-hmm.
They'll get a loan from the company. And that's a non-taxable event. And this is what the middle class needs to learn. They need to learn how to hijack. Don't borrow money to buy a house. Borrow money to start a business or to buy businesses.
When you're analyzing property, what are you first looking at? I mean, is there a cap rate that you're looking for, or
Well,
a per
at
room?
some point I'm gonna look at some point I will look for a cap rate, but the first thing I'm looking for is the big L.
Okay.
So the most important thing to me is the location, right?
Right.
So now I know people talk about location, but like I am a location snob, dude. Like I want to be able to tell people I bought the Manor in Fort Lauderdale, and it's got 180,000 cars in front of it every day. That means I got people passing in front of my brand every day, seeing it. It just makes it easier for me to rent it. It makes it easier for me to sell it. It makes it easier for me to get a loan on it. It makes it easier for me to get a leasing agent.
Mm-hmm.
Everything gets easier because of the location. So I made this mistake early on where I compromised location for price. Today, I'm willing to pay more for a location because the location, I'm gonna pay for that location every day.
Right.
And so first location, then number two is cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
And the third thing I'm looking for is something under replacement cost. I want to be under what it costs to build that asset. 5, if I'm lucky, I'm buying it for less than they did, not a requirement, but it'd be super cool. And then 6, I'll look at a cap rate.
Okay.
Meaning return on my investment.
Love that. And so prestigious properties and prime locations
It doesn't have to be prestigious.
Okay.
It could be an old building,
Sure.
but it needs to be a stupid location.
Anything. So like, I saw property in Coconut Grove. Is that
Great?
Yeah.
But we're in Coconut Grove, right? So now I know you got a great market. Everybody knows Coconut Grove. There's super rich people there. It is the elite of Miami. But now we're in Coconut Grove. Now you got to be like, how far am I from Starbucks or Whole Foods or Trader Joe's?
Yeah, I think it was in an epicenter, and it was close to the water. But it was $10 million. It was 28 units, 3,000 a room, I would say. So it's like 84,000 a month in gross rent, and then a million a year. And so your mortgage, I guess, would be, I think it was like 47,000. So something along those lines. But yeah, exactly. I was looking for like a good location, like you said, and
yeah, but look for a great location.
Yeah, and even you've said before around
look for a location. When you tell people, they're like, "Oh shit, I know that property."
Yeah,
that's what you're looking for. You're looking for because those are always easy to move. They're always easy to fill.
Okay.
The shiny stuff, it's only going to be shiny for so long.
Right.
Everything gets old. So we're buying a deal right now in that deal I bought that I'm closing on today. I got another deal from the same group. When I bought that one, I said, "Hey, you got anything else you can sell me?" Yeah. 33 acres in plantation. Well, I know where plantation is.
Yeah.
Okay. I know we went and visited a property, location's stupid. I'm like, let's go. That has to be the first thing. Then the rest of the pieces have to fit too. So it's a puzzle. Buying a piece of real estate is a puzzle. It's not one piece. Unfortunately, most people, including myself, when I started doing this, I only had one piece of the puzzle. My one piece was price.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm gonna buy cheap. And that's all. The only thing I knew was buying cheap. I didn't understand that's not really how you buy anything. Because you buying cheap, you're just buying cheap. And cheap doesn't always mean good.
Yeah, it's and you've also mentioned like even being around hospitals too, right? Being around areas that have these thriving epicenters that are not really going to go away ever,
Cities don't like to get rid of hospitals, man. It's not popular.
Yeah, just to kind of switch gears. So you've been a staunch proponent of Scientology and Dianetics. I know so many people that read, even if they're not into Scientology, they read Dianetics, and it's just changed their life. I mean, the metaphysical relationship between mind and body. How have those philosophies really transformed your mindset?
Dude, it's amazing. I mean, I've talked about this many times very openly. So I would not be the guy I am today if it was not for Scientology. I would not be taking the risk I take in business. I would have not expanded my educational business. Before I started Scientology, I had 2 or 3 employees. We have almost 1,000 employees today.
Jeez.
I was scared to borrow money for a car. I got $2.2 billion worth of debt. I used to sell cars for a living. I've put 34,000 people in a stadium. And I'm telling you, it is precisely the gains, the education, the courses I've done in the Church of Scientology that remove stuff, limitations that I had in my life that I knew I had. I just couldn't explain where they came from. Phobias, just weird ideas, dude, like bizarre, ridiculous limitations I had put on myself. Sabotaging behavior that I used to have. So I couldn't reach. I couldn't expand because I didn't quite trust Grant because of these things that I didn't understand. So I read the book Dianetics. That's the first thing I did. That book immensely helped me understand why some of these phobias and sabotaging behavior, addiction kind of neurosis stuff was going on in my life, and helped me get rid of it. And then Scientology picked up with the courses, allowing me to really I'm here at my church right now doing a course. Every couple months I come here and do a course on something to look at what I don't know, can't see, what's maybe obscure to me, some blind spot that I'm not looking at, to make me a better communicator or a better business person, a better husband, a better father, just better. And the last thing I'll say about it is because I'm not promoting the church. I never run around saying, hey, become a Scientologist.
Sure.
People just ask me about it, but you don't. I know Jewish people that are Scientologists, Muslims that are Scientologists, devout Christians, Baptists, Protestants, Mormons, agnostic and atheists that could be in the same course room studying a course on finance or communication or, just giving back to the community, feeling good about yourself. There's a course on happiness, which I've never been great at, by the way.
But it's just constant learning, constant evolving.
Yeah.
And is it, so when you were kind of in your party mode and your party lifestyle, you had this vision of, hey, this is feeling kind of vacuous and empty. I have a vision for where I want, I see my wife.
Yeah, you do know the story.
A little bit. I wanted to set you up a little bit, and then
I was living in La Jolla. I was on the ocean with a house on the ocean. So life was fun. And then after a while, it wasn't any fun, dude. It was it was empty. And I wanted a relationship. I wanted a marriage. I wanted to have kids. I wanted to create a family. And the first thing I knew was the person I wanted to meet was not where I lived. And number two, I was not the person to be that person.
Right.
So I moved myself up to LA. There's a church in LA, Celebrity Center in LA. And I went there. I lived there for 9 months and did courses every single day. Ended up meeting Elena, by the way, the first day I was there. We wouldn't be a relationship for another couple years, but we both got ourselves in a position where we could be, be partners. Yeah. And been married almost 20 years in July. So
congrats, brother. I love that.
Yeah, thanks.
And so what's up next for you?
Yeah, June 12th, A&E.
Okay.
They bought The Real Estate King. It's a show I produced under the 10X Studios banner. We have 2 more documentaries that we're producing right now. And A&E bought The Real Estate King, 10 cities. I go to 10 cities, basically meet investors in these cities that show me their real estate deal. And I pick one person in every city to do a deal with.
I love that. And any other shows? You had the Rick Ross show too, right?
Dude, we were doing the show with Rick, and then Rick got upset with me.
Oh, really?
So then Rick's like, I don't want to do the show now because you said blah, blah. And I'm like, Rick, stop it, man. I didn't say that. And I never said that. And I don't know why you even saying that. My people said, don't touch it now. So I said, whatever. I thought you were the boss.
No, it looked amazing, but yeah, he always speaks highly of you on all the podcasts. So
yeah, no, Rick's a great guy, man. But it was called Hustler House. Maybe I'll do it one day. Look, these reality shows are very, very difficult to do, dude. Mm-hmm. They take a lot of time and energy. I'm doing 2 documentaries right now, How to Get Rich in America, that people are going to absolutely love.
Oh, I saw it.
I pick people that have become successful, and I kind of tell the backstory. Mm-hmm. So we have 8 of those done already. And also, I'm going to go into telling stories about companies in America that made it and fell and what they did wrong so people can learn from it.
I love that. Is that with Fox Studios as well?
With 10X Studios.
10X Studios. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about doing like an apprentice-like show? You know, you have 10 contestants and you have them all just be kind of your right hand.
Yeah.
And they go
we
deals.
did. We were working on a show called Whatever It Takes.
Okay.
So where I pick up like 16 people, fly them to a location and find out which one of them can hang with me.
I love that. That's cool. We're
still thinking of playing with that show. Dude, the reality shows are hard, bro. They're tough, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure, especially with your schedule. Are you planning on doing the 10X conferences more, or?
We have one more.
Okay.
We're going to do one more next year. Might be our last one. I'm threatening for it to be our last one and to go into retirement. Probably Tom Brady retirement.
Okay.
But we're going to do Vegas at least one more time.
Okay. Well, cool. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on, Grant. This was awesome.
Thank you, Julian. Thank you for taking interest. I'm going to be there probably in toward the end of most of June. I might be in Malibu.
Yeah, we should do like a Soho house or something, a little beach house.
I love that.
Shout out to Julian Banks. Yes, sir. And I am Big Snoop Dogg.